We're continuing to work through this book, Liturgy of the Ordinary, Sacred Practices in Everyday Life. I'm going to go through all of it. We're just going to do a few of the chapters. But I really encourage you to go out and buy the book. I'm sure it's not too expensive on Amazon or whatever. It's only about 150 pages and is a good, beautiful, slow read. I've already read it a few times. I'm probably going to read through it again, and it's particularly relevant now as we're all kind of stuck in our homes and stuck in our normal, not everyday routines, that we don't have much to change up the day to day, that we forget what day it is, we lose track of time. And what she does is she goes through one whole day from waking up in the morning till going to sleep at night, and all the spiritual practices that we can inhabit, that we can lean into, all of the spiritual truths and realities that are around us every day, all the pictures of how God is at work in our everyday lives. In this chapter 8 that we're going to do today, it's called Sitting in Traffic, Liturgical Time, and an Unhurried God. So she begins by talking about being stuck in traffic. She says, I'm on the highway, Interstate 35, stopped. I can't see what's ahead. Is there a wreck? Road construction? I check my map app. A thick red line stretches on for what seems to be over a mile. I'm going to be here for a while. She says she's trying to listen to some stuff. Her kids are bored. They say they're starving. She can't go anywhere. She says she's never understood why people honk. But as she began to think about it, she said, people honk not because it'll move anything on, but as if to shake a sonic fist at the sky. In the face of our powerlessness, our stuckness, our mortal minutes counting down, we just honk. An act of rage and protest that adds only noise, not movement. She says, when my computer moves too slowly, I think this is taking forever. That she constantly wants to be moving, constantly in state of going and advancing and doing multiple things. This is true about me, and I'm sure it's true about you as well. She said, for the good of my own soul, I need to feel what it's like to wait, to let the moments march past. This is a very common commandment in Scripture. All throughout Scripture, we're told to wait for the Lord. Throughout the Psalms, throughout the Old Testament, we're told to wait on God's salvation, wait on things to change. When we look and we read Scripture, we see these big moments that are documented in the Bible. But what we don't realize is that there's years and years between a lot of those, sometimes decades, sometimes centuries. There are vast spaces where it seems like God is not working, and we are called to wait, to trust in Him, to hope in Him, to know that He is the one that's in control of all things and not ourselves. That's what we can cultivate in those moments of waiting. Like we're waiting now. We're waiting for things to open back up. We're wishing, longing for it to be back to normal everyday life. That's what she says later in the chapter. Christians are not only marked by patience, but we are marked by longing. Longing is what we feel in the presence, what we feel in the present moment when we look around and we see things are not the way that they're supposed to be, and we look to a future day and long for that day to come. That's what we're doing now. We look around and we see life is not normal. People are getting sick. People are dying. We're living in fear. We can't exit our homes. We can't go about our daily normal routines. We can't be in class. We can't be at work. Or maybe we're stuck at work over and over every day. We can't leave because there are people who are in need of our services for one reason or another. And we long for the day when it is not like that. And she says that one way that we see this is through the Christian calendar, that the Christian calendar has a lot of days of longing. Like we think of Advent, Christmas, when Jesus comes to us as a baby, and we look ahead to when he will come again. Easter now, we look back at Jesus' resurrection and we rejoice that his new life has already broken through into our world, but we also long for the day when that resurrected life of Jesus will spread throughout the rest of the world, where we will have new resurrected bodies, where the world will be the way that it's supposed to be, where he will wipe away every tear from our eyes, where death will be no more, where sickness and viruses will be no more, that we have great longing. What do we do to cultivate our patience and our longing? So much of the time, if I have a spare moment, I grab my phone and look at it. We are surrounded by endless distractions, and we never sit and be bored, and to wait, and to be patient. So I'd encourage you, this is something that I read in another book called The Relentless Elimination of Hurry. Sorry, The Ruthless Elimination of Hurry. And he talks about single tasking. Usually when I'm doing something, I'm doing multiple things. I'm listening to a podcast, I'm texting with a friend, I'm doing my laundry, I've got a show going. There's a million things that are going on. What if I were to do one thing at a time? And that was it. Just read a book apart from my phone. Just fold my laundry and not listen to anything to distract me. To just be in the moment. As hard as that is, it cultivates patience and it cultivates longing, both of which are important spiritual practices, are important Christian character traits that Jesus wants to see in our lives. Because then we wait with patience and hope for God to work in the world. And we look around the world and we long for the day when Jesus will come back and he will set all things right.